Hi, my name's Tiger Craven Neely. I am California retired gay teacher, and I am doing my civic duty making these videos, a little on the amateuristic side, but they are what they are. And this is my smorgasbord segment because I say smorgasbord because I'm kind of discombobulated. I got different things I'm going to be pulling in. And I am admittedly not that rehearsed, so thank you for hanging in there with me. So Pride, I'm going to read Harvey Milk's, he didn't write it, but this book is about Harvey Milk called Pride, the Story of Harvey Milk and the Rainbow Flag, and talk about some stories. Caveat, disclaimer, warning, this might get a little political because I might talk about some of the politics going on in our government. So if you don't like that, don't listen. Giving you a warning now. So before we start, something different, an endorsement. I'm supporting Queen Bean Coffee House. They're in Modesto, 14th Avenue. If you're near Modesto, gotta go by there. Check it out. Sam and Rui are the owners. Used to be Deborah. But anyway, go check it out. Good coffee, good atmosphere. Also want to do a shout out to some of my former students. You know what? I might as well just unshare. Let me see if I can unshare. Share the screen while I do that. Sorry, I should have done that in the first place. A shout out to one of my former students. I don't usually say students. When you hear a name, it's usually a pseudonym to protect their anonymity. But I'm going to say this one. This is from Sweta. And she said, my best teacher, this is a note she gave me at the end of the year. My best teacher is Mr. Neely because he is nice and good teacher by the Sweta. You needed an article there. And good teacher. And he also helped us for our homework. So she was learning English then. Help us for our homework. And Mr. Neely is the best and greatest teacher forever. Thank you so much. That was so sweet, and I shouldn't have corrected it online. Bad Tiger. But I remember you. I don't remember. I've probably had about 800 students in 30 years, but I remember that student very well. She was very sweet. Excuse me. And a shout out to the student, I'm not going to say her name, Darlene, I'll call her Darlene, pseudonym, who gave me this. So I used to take students out for lunch, about 4 or 5 every month, about a mile down the road from our school with principal permission and parent permission. And I'd give them a budget and a menu, and we would order, and we would divide the kids up into groups, and once a month I would take one of the groups. Well, one of the times we went, this student said, Mr. I say C sometimes for Carden, or Craven Neely. My last name's Craven Neely. Then it was Mr. Neely. Mr. Neely, sometimes I just don't feel smart, she said. And then in the classroom, and that's the benefit of taking kids out to lunch, because teachers are so busy, but you take them out to lunch, things slow down a little bit. You can hear them a little bit better. So I heard what she was saying. So in class, every time she answered, I would say, wow, that is a smart question. Or she'd give an answer. I would say, that is a smart answer. Only a smart student. So at the end of the year, she acknowledged that favor I did her. So anyway, she was smart and kind. And the last shout out, I want to thank the student that wrote me this letter, kind of covering the name. She handed it to me at the beginning of the day, and I'll just call her Maria. Maria cannot do any PE or any type of sports for 2 weeks due to her muscles. Sincerely, Dr. Sanchez. I want to just shout out to Maria for your creativity. You spelled, I'm sorry, Dr. Sanchez misspelled cannot, muscles, and sincerely wrong. But anyway, very resourceful. So anyway, those were my shout outs. I'm going to read Pride. It's a book about Harvey Milk and the rainbow flag. And then talk as much as I can before we end our time. All right, let's go back to sharing. There's a share. Pride, the story of Harvey Milk and the rainbow flag. Written by Rob Sanders, illustrated by Stephen Salerno. You have to give them hope. Hope for a better world. Hope for a better tomorrow. That was a saying Harvey Milk used to say in most of his speeches. Harvey Milk was an ordinary man, but he had an extraordinary dream. That dream would change history. Harvey dreamed that everyone, even gay people, would have equality. He dreamed that he and his friends would be treated like everyone else. He dreamed that one day people would be able to live and love as they pleased. Hello, that's called civil rights, by the way. Civility, civil, equal rights. With his New York accent, Harvey talked to everyone about his dream. His voice boomed. His body bounced with energy and excitement. Here's some of the signs you might have seen in some of the marches. Some are pro-gay, some are anti-gay. Pro means for. Straights for gays is pro. I love my gay son is pro. This red arrow through the word gay would be anti or against. Some people listened, a few agreed, most did not. But Harvey's big voice and his big dream wouldn't be stopped. He discovered that the best way to change laws was to help make laws. In 1977, Harvey Milk took a big step toward that dream when he became one of the first openly gay people to be elected to political office in the United States. San Francisco supervisor. And I believe he failed the first time he ran. He was not elected, but he didn't give up. Perseverance. He had perseverance. Harvey and his friends planned marches to protest inequality and unfair laws. And just days before one of the marches, Harvey had an idea. A symbol, he thought. We need a symbol that shows who we are and how we feel. And those are some of the symbols he might have considered. Something to carry during the march, something to make people feel they're part of a community, something to give people hope, something extraordinary. Harvey knew an artist who could help, Gilbert Baker. Harvey asked, Gilbert said, we need a flag. Volunteers arrived to help Gilbert's design come to life. Together, they dipped fabric into large barrels filled with vivid, vibrant dyes. They cut and pieced and sewed until Harvey Gilbert and the other activists had a flag with 8 colorful stripes, a flag that Harvey hoped would give hope. Market in Castro. Castro is a street in San Francisco where it's predominantly gay, although it's a little more gentrified today than it was in the 70s and 80s. Rights are won only by those who make their voices heard. On July 25th, 1978, when it was time for the march, a breeze stirred in San Francisco. The flag unfurled. The wind blew, the flag fluttered, flapped, and flew. A rainbow as bright and unique as the men and women who walked behind it led the march. Harvey and the people asked for equality. They asked to be treated like everyone else. They asked to live and love as they pleased. They hoped the march would make a difference. Not asking for much, is it? All different kinds of gay people or may have been there. Allies or friends. Harvey was proud of the flag and proud of himself. See how the flag represents freedom, equality, and all these people are proud to display the symbol of freedom and equality. He hoped others could be proud too. 5 months later, on the morning of November 27th, 1978, Harvey and the mayor of San Francisco, George Moscone, were assassinated. It means they were killed. Their lives were taken by a man who did not think like Harvey or feel like him or love like him. Dan White. 10 light. He was another politician, another supervisor. The flag did not, well, in the world did that happen? The flag did not fly. I'll read it. The flag did not fly on that dark, sad night. Instead, thousands and thousands of people marched silently, carrying candles. The candlelight wove through the streets of San Francisco, up and down the hills and around city buildings, a mile of glowing candlelight in honor of 2 lives lost. That could have been the end of Harvey's dream and the colorful flag, but it wasn't. More rainbow flags were created. Some of the colors changed. 8 stripes became 6 stripes. But the meaning of the flag did not change. It was a flag of equality. More and more people began to think of the flag as their flag, and they began to feel proud. They began to have hope. And those letters, HOPE, spell hope. In 1994, Gilbert Baker designed another rainbow flag. This one was larger than all the rest. Women and men side by side carried the flag, a proud mile-long rainbow floating through New York City. The flag wove through the streets, up and down avenues and boulevards and around city buildings. The people demanded equality. They demanded to be treated like everyone else. They demanded to live and love as they pleased. They were proud. They had hope. They would make a difference. I asked for the movement to continue, for the movement to grow. More rainbow flags were made. Some were printed on bumper stickers and t-shirts. Others were hoisted on a lamppost on Halsted Street in Chicago. One was hung in the Museum of Modern Art in New York City. Soon the rainbow flag was flying in other countries like Brazil, England, Israel, Russia, Singapore, and Turkey. The rainbow flag now unfurled on farms and suburbs and in cities. The flag flew proudly outside public buildings, hotels, shops, restaurants, churches, and homes. And once on June 26, 2015, the White House was awash in the colors of the rainbow flag. And I remember that, seeing that on Facebook, and just the goosebumps and the overwhelming feeling of high self-esteem and pride, and that feeling you get when you get bumper stickers, when you get goosebumps, and that feeling, a tingly feeling. Yeah, it was very meaningful for me to see the President of the United States endorse the rainbow colors and the flag, the hope for equality. We still don't have federal equality in the United States. In California, we do. We have protections for commerce, for employment, housing, credit, but not in the United States. The United States people can steal. Equality, pride, hope, love. Harvey's dream became a flag for all of us. Thank you, Harvey Milk. He gave up his life. He gave up all for our equality. Thank you, Harvey Milk. And he knew it, by the way. He knew that he was risking his life to stand up for equality. Just want to say some things about the story. Here's some paragraphs. I'm going to paraphrase some of these things. So in this first paragraph, the rainbow flag talks about how before the rainbow flag, the only symbol that people associated with homosexuals was this one. During the 1930s and 40s, when Hitler and the Nazis were persecuting Jewish people, Jehovah's Witnesses, anyone who dissented against the government, and homosexuals. They forced homosexuals to wear these upside down pink triangles on their clothing. And then they would send them to concentration camps. And so it became a symbol for homosexuals. So before the flag, this was the only really known symbol. And I also wanted to comment, I read this book, The Pink Triangle, the Nazi War Against Homosexuals. If you get a chance to read it, listen to it on audiobook. But it said that the homosexuals, and I'm not trying to de-emphasize what happened to Jewish people, because that was atrocity. and millions were murdered in these gas chambers and the concentration camp. But according to the author of this book, he said a lot of the homosexuals were put on work details that were the worst details, and so they died quicker. And another atrocity when the war ended, the people who survived the concentration camp, which were mostly Jewish, people attempted to restore them to jobs and housing and lost furnishings and missing family. But the homosexual people who were put in concentration camps were not always restored. Many times they were found guilty under the Constitution of Germany at the time. I think it was paragraph 175 in the German Constitution. It said they were still criminals because they were homosexual. And so some of them had to remain in prison. Just some of the atrocities that we have. Anyway, on this page, Harvey Milk, just a little history that wasn't covered in the book. He was born in Woodmere, New York, 1930, May 22nd. That's the day after my birthday. Studied at the New York State College for Teachers, studied math and history. He was in the Navy, taught public school, was a production associate on Broadway, moved to San Francisco in 1972. He opened a camera shop there. You can go there, by the way. You can go to Castro Street, 573 Castro Street. The camera shop's not there, but the storefront is there. And I already said, the country's first openly gay elected official. But now the Gilbert Baker, who made the flag, I was going to read a little bit about his history. Here it is. Born in 1951, so he's a little bit 21 years younger than Harvey Milk. Grandmother owned a men's clothing store. That's how he learned to sew. He also served in the Army. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say about this page. I want to go back, if I can, to the Harvey Milk story. Did I lose it? Like I lost it. Is it over here? Sorry about that. Sorry, I can't find the story, but I wanted to comment on the picture in the story where it showed the White House with the rainbow colors. And there was another picture when that came out on my Facebook of President Obama and Vice President Joe Biden, and they were holding the rainbow flag. And I think they were waving it like in the Oval Office, somewhere in the White House. And just a feeling of pride came over me. But I wanted to mention I had a relative, my grandfather's brother. My grandfather had about 5 brothers. I think they were all deceased at the time, except for one, his youngest brother. And I won't say his name, but he was on my Facebook and he posted an anti-gay sentiment regarding the rainbow flag in the White House. He said, "Today, Satan has raised his flag post in the White House." That was some of the reactions some people had. I just wanted to comment that what I said to him, because, statistics show, there was a Gallup poll recently, 2024 Gallup poll, scratching my nose, that said 9.3% of those surveyed identified as LGBT+. That's quite a number. I usually use a statistic between like 3 and 7%, which is around 5%. I'm going to guess this one maybe a little more progressive. Maybe people feel more comfortable identifying, or maybe they're including bisexual, transgender, which may have not been included in polls in the past, but still quite a few. So when my grandfather's brother, my great uncle, said Satan raising his flag post in the White House, I know from statistics that he has to have family members who are LGBT, right? He has to have grandkids, probably, or his own kids. So I responded and I said, what do you tell your grandchildren who are LGBT? When you react like that, when you say to the president holding a rainbow flag, you say Satan has raised his flag post in the White House. And his response, they didn't deny having LGBT grandkids. He said, actually, I think it was his wife who responded, that our hearts go out for the suffering that they'll have to endure. Which is crazy because the main suffering LGBT people have to do is from society's insane inability to accept human nature. They were creating, by their statement and mindset toward homosexuals, they were creating the suffering that their grandchildren have to suffer. So I just wanted to share that story. Another Harvey Milk story. Before I do that, let's see what else I brought up here. I wanted to talk about, I don't like to talk about a lot about politics, but I do want to mention in our Government Day in the United States, this is August 31st, 2025, we do have Project 2025 represented in our government. Matter of fact, I think I lost it, but all the people like Russell Vogt, Brandon Carr, there's a long list I just can't name right now of people who either are architects of Project 2025 to 2025 or they supported it. One I think is Kevin Roberts of the Heritage Foundation. And part of 2025 is right here. Did I lose that? I'm sorry. I just losing what I wanted to show. I think it's down here. Well, anyway, I'm going to have to paraphrase, I guess, instead of reading. It claims to strengthen family, and to strengthen family, they want to undo laws that protect LGBT people. And I just think that's incredible because I'm LGBT and I'm pro-family. So like yesterday, I was at my son's home. I ordered some bikes online, some little toddler bikes. I ordered 3 of them, put them together. It took me about 3 hours to assemble all these bikes. Took them over there. I had taken food over there the day before. Actually, my husband did because they were sick. They had some stomach flu, so we made them dinner. Went over there the next day, yesterday. I was pushing my grandsons out around on their bike. We went in the backyard. We were playing on their trampoline. I read to them stories. They're all cuddling up to Grandpa Tiger. And I'm committed. I ask for every third Thursday of the month to be able to go there and read. There's another morning, we have like a baseball practice day once a month. I'm dedicated to my grandsons. And then like the day or 1 or 2 days before that, another child of mine came over with her 2 sons. And same thing. I had bought a wading pool and a canopy, put it in the backyard and put water in it. And he was taking all the toy trucks I had found from some of them from thrift stores. And we were playing with the toy trucks in the water. And then I came in and I took my other grandson who's about a year old and I was trying to feed him really fast too. He's like, you give him a plate of food and there we go. On the plate of food. I think we made like 3 plates before we figured out we got to be really faster than him. He was like, but anyway, and my husband was there. My ex-wife was there. We're family oriented, and to say that to be family oriented, you have to be anti-LGBT. Dismantling our rights is unjust. It's unjust. It's not just. It's I'm gonna tell another story. We have hardworking migrant workers here. Some are not documented. Doesn't mean they're criminals, by the way. But some of them are very religious. One of my families, someone who was doing my lawn service, was Latino, and when he met my husband, he used to do my lawn for many years. And then when he met my husband, he said, sorry, I can't do your lawn anymore. I said, well, why? He said, well, I have too many lawns to do. Really, it was because he's anti-LGBT. And I'm not mad at him, but there's no laws that protect LGBT people from federal laws practiced from discrimination. He's allowed to do that. Whereas if you're black or your race or whatever, we have laws protecting against discrimination. But anyway, I had a fan in my house wasn't working the other day, and I called up some maintenance electricians to come over. My husband was here, and I was thinking, should I let them know that I'm married? This is my husband? If I do, will it be like my lawn people? Will they say, I'm sorry, we can't serve you because we don't like gay people? And that's really the climate of our country right now. Project 225 is trying to make it okay for people to say, hey, I don't like gay people. I don't want to serve you, which isn't right. Anyway, I think I'm running out of time, and I just bounced all over the place, and I probably forgot half of what I wanted to say. Anyway, I'm using a different server, so I'm used to Google, but I'm just looking really fast to see if there's anything else I wanted to show you. Harvey Milk. By the way, when Harvey Milk was murdered and Dan White was given his prison sentence, they gave him 7 years. He got out in 5. That was a gift that jury gave him. That was a reward for killing a gay politician, by the way. I just wanted to say that. Unfortunately, some people would say fortunately, but another Dan White killed himself after, so I don't know if that was from the guilt or what. Anyway, I think I covered everything I wanted. We read, talked about some laws. Oh yeah, I just wanted to mention a law. One of Dan White's defenses was that he was depressed. And the reason why he was depressed is because he had to eat a lot of junk food and stuff. And it became the Twinkie defense, and it kind of got blown out of proportion. People say he was trying to say he was justified to kill Mayor Moscone and Harvey Milk because he ate Twinkies and the sugar. But that really, I think that was blown out of proportion. I think he was just saying he was depressed, but it became the Twinkie defense. But I want to say there's a law now in California. And I forget the number, but it says there's no more panic defense. So it used to be if someone murdered someone and they were gay, they could say, "Oh, well, I just got so panicked that they were gay," and they could use that as a defense. Right here, it's right in front of me. Assembly Bill 2501. So thank goodness that we don't have that panic defense anymore. Anyway, for hanging in there. God bless our students. By the way, if you could subscribe to my channel, forward it. Anyway, I always like to end with this quote. The only perverse thing about homosexuality is society's insane inability to accept homosexuality. Sorry, accept human nature. The only perverted thing about homosexuality is society's insane inability to accept human nature. It's just human nature. Natural variation, like being left-handed. Anyway, take care. Thanks again.